Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to a new interview about cruise ship jobs. Today we're gonna talk about how to apply to be a singer on a cruise ship. I have a very special friend invited to this live. So if you're watching live, you know you can ask questions and at the end we will answer to all of them. Or if you're watching this afterwards, then stay until the end because we're gonna talk about everything. So now I'm gonna welcome Kyron.
Hey, hi, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hola, hola,
All
hola.
right. Until we wait for more people to join, I would like first to tell people, the ones who don't know us yet. My name is Cielo. I'm a recruiter. I work on ships. That's where I met Kyron, right? Like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
2020.
yeah. Now I do recruiting and consultation. I have this channel where I do interviews. I try to do it every week about different positions on board. So if you're interested, please look for those videos in my channel. And thank you so much for being here. Now, Kyron, tell us about yourself. Who are you? Who's Kyron? Who's Kyron?
So, hello, everyone. I am Kyron Westfield. I'm from the Caribbean island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I met Cielo on my first contract on cruise ships, Anthem of the Seas, in
Your first
2020.
one.
My first
Right,
contract.
you were a baby. You were a baby hire.
You
I
always say,
forgot.
"Oh, Kyron, you're a baby."
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been singing for quite a number of years, and I also do my own music. So if you want some nice vibes, you check me out on Spotify, Apple Music, Kyron West. So you see my name on the screen, Kyron Westfield. Just take off the field and you get my stage name, Kyron West. So yeah, I write, I sing, I perform on cruise ships.
So
Um,
before we
uh-huh.
go into cruise ship options, like how did you get there and what are the options?
Mhm.
How long have you been singing? I mean, how was your process in becoming a cruise ship singer, and what were you doing before that?
So it kind of happened. It was unexpected, but it was expected. So let me explain, right? So before cruise ships, I used to work at a bank back home. So I graduated college in 2017, and I graduated in June, and in August I got the job at the bank. So I worked there for 5 years until I left in 2022 to go on cruise ships. Um, Actually, the first person to tell me about cruise ships was Johnny, because that same so Johnny, guys, if you don't
Greetings.
know, he's one of our mutual friends. He's from my island as well. He's a musician. Um, so he went on ships in 2017, I believe. If not 2017, probably the year after. But he was the one that came back and he was like, "Yo, bro, I saw some of the singers out there, and I think you could really do this." It was something I thought about after that moment, but I was like, oh, they probably need to be like amazing to be on cruise ships, which you kind of do, but I just think I
You
wasn't
are
able.
amazing. You are amazing. But
But at
listen,
that point,
my question is more like, were you a professional? What have you studied, or like you were
oh,
working in a bank? But what about your career on like a
so I was
singer?
working in a bank, but in college, I was in a performing arts group, the choir.
Okay.
So the first year I was a member. The second year I became the head of the choir. So I was responsible for making arrangements, just stuff, anything a choir would do. We performed a lot at different venues in St. Vincent and in the Grenadines. Um, Also, while I worked at the bank, I had a band with Johnny actually, and we would
Oh,
gig.
okay.
Yeah, we would gig in St. Vincent on the mainland and also in the Grenadines. So like I didn't have a formal sense of training. I just went on YouTube a lot to like research things as it relates to like singing techniques and picked up stuff from musicians and singers over the years. But like to say I went to school for it, I didn't go to school for it. So I've been singing, I would say professionally since about around 2018, 2019 till now. But before, obviously I sang like all my life, but like as a career and things are something I would pursue as a career. Yeah, 2018, 2019, around there.
All right, that's great. So, okay, now let's go to options. I'm a singer. I know
Mhm.
I'm capable of doing this, but I have no clue. What
Mhm.
are my options on a cruise ship as a singer?
Okay. So people tend to think that cruise ships you need to have like a ton of qualifications. I mean, experience and just showing that you know how to do the job is a big part of it. Because as I said, I didn't have any formal training, no musical theater background, anything like that. Um, so the different options are, so there's Caribbean band. Some cruise lines call it calypso band, which is basically a band that plays Caribbean style music. So reggae, soca, dancehall, things like that. Um, then there's a party band, which is like you play like top 40 music. You play trending music basically. And usually you play like themed sets. So like you'd have an 80s set, a 90s set, da da da, you know what I mean? Um, then you have the production show singers, which are like, it's like Broadway for cruise lines, basically. So you'll be singing in a show, you there'll be some acting, some dancing, but depending on the cruise line, it would determine the level of dancing and acting. Because some cruise lines, the singers dance more than some, and it will depend on the show as well. Um, so yeah, that's that. Then we have
The
piano bar.
orchestra, no, the orchestra they play, they don't sing. Sorry, no, the
Huh?
piano bar, yeah, no, yeah, the
Yeah, we have
piano bar.
piano bar entertainers, which you're basically playing the piano, you're solo there, you sing whatever you want, play whatever you want. You still tailor it to the demographic of the ship, but m- more than like you set your own repertoire. And we have the guitar soloists, they play in a pub usually, same as the piano soloists. We have duos, and then we have the guest entertainers, which basically they are people who come on the ship for like, let's say, one cruise, two cruises, and they come with their own show. So they come with their own production, they pitch it to the company hires them, and you just perform your show for, you just go from ship to ship, basically. That's how it goes. And you just perform your show.
Okay, and then so how do we start? As a band, you need to bring your band, or you are a single, like you're the singer and you join other people's band. How does it
So
work?
I've heard of and seen situations where both are possible. So for me, I went as a band. So I, my band leader, who I was on Royal with, he reached out to me while I was working at the bank to come on ships with them. So that's what I did. I uprooted and I went on ships. So we went as a unit, as a band. But then also, while I was on my contract on Quantum of the Seas, there was a band that they all applied individually, and the company placed the singer with them. So it all depends on, I guess, the need. So if you do have a band, you can come as a unit. But if you don't have a band and you're a solo singer and you want to be a part of a band, you just apply and then they can place you with a band.
Okay,
So
so now can we? Yeah,
in
no,
terms of
let's
how
talk
you
about,
do it, right?
yeah.
So
How?
there are many ways. You can either one have an agent, which I would say is the easiest form to get your foot in the door. Because if you have an agent, you have someone that will advocate for you, someone who already has like a direct link with the cruise lines. So opportunities can come at you faster, or you're more aware of what you can, access. Uh, yeah, so you get an agent. How you go about doing that? You can do research online. You can even reach out to me on Instagram or wherever, and I can point you in the direction of some agencies. But you can get an agent, and obviously you'd have to audition for the agency. They will sign you. However, their contract is set up. Most, if not all, agencies they require commission, which is only right because they put you in the rooms to get the jobs. Um, and yeah, yeah. So that's if you have an agent, right? You just get an agency. They present you all the options and opportunities, and then you now decide, okay, I want this. What can I do to apply for this? What you can also do, if you don't want to go through the agency route, The different cruise lines, they have social media for their entertainment departments. So Royal Caribbean has Royal Caribbean Entertainment on Instagram, Carnival has Carnival Entertainment, RWS, the same thing. And you go, usually in their bios, you see the link to like apply or audition. It takes you to your website, and then you see the list of requirements. You might see like audition material there that you would need to like do. Usually, what they ask for a show reel. So if you're gonna apply for ships, you need a show reel. So what a show reel is usually a less than 3 minute video of just performances put together. So in a show reel, you can include like diversity. So you can include the different parts of your range, the different styles of music, show a little personality or how well you are commanding the stage or performing. Just something tailored to what you're trying to apply for, if that makes sense.
Auditions are in person or could be virtual also.
Both. So for for production shows mainly, they tend to do auditions in person, but they do have virtual callbacks for some shows. But some most production shows in cruise lines, they tend to do them in person. So they'll have auditions in New York or Sydney or da da da. But sometimes they have them online. Sometimes you just have to upload yourself singing over the instrumentals that they provide you, and you just upload it and then you just wait back to hear. Or sometimes you go in person, you audition for them, and then they let you know. Then and there, I tell you they'll reach back out to you.
Look, we have a question here, guys. The ones who are watching this live, if you want to ask questions, go ahead. We're going to answer. So, Cultura asks, it is mandatory the sight reading as a guitar player in a rock band. I have more than 15 years of stage experience.
That is a very, very good question. So I'll speak for Carnival. So Carnival, they're rock band musicians. They sight reading is a requirement. How strong you have to be would also depend on your other skills. So let's say you're not very good at sight reading, but you can pick things up by ear really quickly. Then maybe they might be a little bit flexible on that, because obviously you can play, and then you said you have 15 years of stage experience. So you kind of pick up things over the years. So if you're not strong at stage reading, I would say sight reading, sorry. I would say don't let that deter you. Still go, still apply. There are situations where they are willing to work with you. That's what I'm saying. So you can still apply as long as you can get the job done, basically. Because for the rock band, we have sets and specific songs you play. So more than likely you're gonna play the same thing every cruise. Like if you have 7 day cruises, this 7 days you play one set of songs. The next 7 days is the same set of songs, just different guests. So you might get a situation where like you're playing the same thing over, so you don't even need to sight read. You get what I mean, Cielo?
Yeah, very clear. No. So my
I
other
hope that
question,
this
yeah,
question.
he said I understand. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
My question, another question I have is, do you have to bring your all? I don't know in English, like the list of songs to
Oh, so
play, or they give you
so they give you, but I would
repertorio
say
in Spanish? I don't know how to say it in English. Repertorio.
your repertoire, yeah, repertoire.
Yeah.
So how what I'll speak for Royal, and then I'll speak for Carnival. So for Royal, I was in a Caribbean band. The band leader sent me the songs ahead of time, and I basically had to learn them to get on the ship. But also, once we got on the ship, or before that, he was like, okay, what songs do you know? And I can incorporate them in the repertoire to make it like a nice balance of stuff I gave you and stuff that you know already, so that, make it a little bit comfortable to transition. But with Carnival, what they do, they ask the singers, because they use male and female singers. So each band has 6 members: male, female singer, keyboardist, drum, guitar, and bass. So what they do, they ask singers ahead of time to send their repertoire. Then the band leader usually picks songs from each singer's repertoire to culminate the overall repertoire. How much of that they use depends on the manager. So if the manager feels like, okay, your repertoire doesn't really fit the demographic of the ship we're going to, they might not pick a lot of songs from it. But for the most part, they give you the rep, but they will include songs that you know in the rep. whether they ask for it or by coincidence it's included in there.
And what do you prefer?
In terms of what?
No, like I don't know, the way Royal or Carnival, like to get the songs or to
Um, I would
what's easier,
say
or there's not an easier thing.
not. I mean, either way, I'm good because I still learn the songs and I still
You
do the
have to do
job.
it.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah, I
okay,
would
so
say.
now
Mhm.
since you talk about this transition, can you tell us a bit about like why did you change, or the differences between being on a Caribbean band and then in a rock band? Is it the
Okay,
same?
so it's a drastic change. So in the Caribbean band, there were four members. So one singer, I was the only singer, and then three musicians. Caribbean bands, they tend to play in the pool decks in the daytime. So usually on a port day, you might not get off. That is a downside because depending on the port, if it's a port where not many people go off, then they will schedule you to play during, docking hours, which, is kind of unfortunate sometimes, but it is what it is sometimes, you know what I mean? So yeah, Caribbean bands, they tend to play on the pool deck. Their repertoire is drastically different than a rock band in that they have to play Caribbean centered music. Um, and the outfits are different as well because we have to wear the tropical shirts. I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah, every time same.
And the rock band now, it's mainly themed sets. So I would say when I was in the Caribbean band, the repertoire was a little bit broader because obviously there are instances where we would play inside. So we would need to know like, some top 40, some Motown, so a little bit of everything. I would say with the rock band, the set list on the repertoire is very like structured in a way where there isn't much room for flexibility, if that makes sense. Because, okay, this night is 80s night, we have to do an 80s set. This night is 90s night, da 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 da. Also, the rock band, there are two singers, male and female, so that's another change. Also, rock band plays in the night mainly, or all the time, unless there are like specific shows where you're a part of that happen in the afternoon. But for the most part, you don't play in the day as a rock band member. So the
Can we go
repertoire is
now? Yeah, and talk about the this. Many people want to know. I mean, musicians have a very good life compared to other people. So, how
everything
many?
good life.
No, I mean, I'm not saying you don't work. Like some people
No,
say, I know your voice is important. I know you need your rest, but how many hours per day you work? Rehearsals, day off.
in terms of how many hours a day we work, it depends. Each ship is different, I would say, on each, even on that ship, depending on how many managers you change while you're there, that determines how many sets you do. Because on Anthem, the first half of the contract, we had one manager, and we would have like two, three, maybe four sets a day, depending on the day. And then the latter half,
Four is a lot.
um, they don't see it like that. But yeah, but then on the latter half of the contract, we had a different manager who was new, and scheduling wasn't his strong suit. So then that became an issue where we were being scheduled at times that didn't really make sense. So like we would be scheduled at 8 o'clock in the night on the pool deck, no one would be there. Things like that. You remember those moments? You were on the ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the scheduling and the hours you work, it depends on the manager's discretion on the ship you're on and the itinerary. Because some days we would have canceled sets when we were in Europe because it was too cold to play on the pool deck. So it really depends. But on average, I would say like 2 to 4 hours a day, depending on how the sets are scheduled. Days
And
off,
yeah,
we get one day off a week, or every six after every 6 days you need to get a day off. That's the law.
and rehearsals.
Rehearsals. So for Carnival, they do rehearsals prior to the contract. So they go to the facility in Fort Lauderdale and rehearse for however many weeks, depending on what ship and how many days your cruises are. But for Royal, the bands they rehearse off ship and then join the contract. So there, like the band rehearses at a Royal Caribbean facility or anything like that. But on board, you
But on
can hold,
board, you
yeah,
don't
on
have
board,
rehearsals.
yeah, you can hold rehearsals because I've been in bands where we add songs to set and we want to run them through, so we do the rehearsals on board. So yeah,
But so I know you say it's a law, but we don't have a day off. Other people don't have a day off.
but it's
Like,
okay.
a law for you. For us,
Look at
no.
it. Look at it like this. Okay, so it's like singing for 8 hours back to back.
No,
You won't
I
have
know,
a
I know.
voice at the end of two. Or playing an instrument for 8 hours, like the movements you gotta make and stuff there. So I guess that's why. That's why.
Okay, and so you like it better right here to but I mean now in a rock band.
I would say I like both for different reasons. I preferred the flexibility of Royal, but I also appreciate the structure of Carnival. So it's like depending on whatever you're looking for, that is what, you know what I mean? Because for Royal, their bands, the bands usually just tend to make their own set lists. Rather in Carnival, the company approves. I mean, yes, Royal, the company approves the set list, but in Carnival is more so, it's very structured. That's all I can say about that. Royal, you have a little bit more free reign to just like pick songs and put twists on songs that you want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and then going back to the recruitment process or the auditions, more or
mhm.
less in average, how long would you say is the time since like you apply until then you have your auditions and then you go to a ship? Like,
Honestly, I would say it's a case to case basis because for me, for my first cruise ship job, I didn't necessarily have to like go on audition per se. My band leader reached out to me. I sent him some demos. He sent them to the company, and I got a contract within like a couple days.
oh, that was fast.
Yeah, for Carnival, I had applied like a month before, and I didn't really hear anything back. And one day, randomly, I was at the gym, and then I saw an email with an offer coming in and say, "Oh, we need you to do an interview." Da 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 da. Then I did the interview. I sent in the audition stuff, and within like a few days, I got the confirmation offer. And then they told me, "Okay, this will be your ship. This is when you'll be leaving." And da da
How
da da
long
da.
is your contract?
Carnival on board is 6 months, but on land and the studios, it depends on what ship. Because my last contract was 3 weeks rehearsals. This one I'm doing was 6 weeks rehearsals. Oh, the one I just did was 6 weeks rehearsals. Royal, the contract times tend to vary because I've done 6 months, 3 weeks, I've done 7 months, I've done 9 months. So it just depends on the cruise line
Nine
and
is crazy.
yeah.
Okay, what else can I ask? Guys, do you have questions? Put it here.
Yeah,
We
don't be
can
shy.
because I'm not a singer, so I have no clue. Okay, my other question. I'm just thinking about what people ask me. Um, is it more difficult to be like a soloist? Like I don't know how to play the piano, to have your bar. Is it more difficult? I think so, right?
I would say it depends on the kind of person you are. So if you're somebody who you don't mind handling your own business because you're in charge of your repertoire, you're in charge of interacting with the crowd, you're in charge of your venue, basically. If you're somebody who has that personality to just take charge and you're comfortable in your own space, you create your own atmosphere, I would say that would be perfect for you. But if you're someone who you need guidance, or maybe you're not as confident in your abilities to do it on your own, maybe it might not be the best fit initially, or maybe you need to work your way up to that. So you can still do it, but maybe you can find yourself in that position, is what I'm saying. But I don't think either is easy. I think it just depends on the person who is doing the job, what you prefer and what you don't prefer.
And I guess like your style, right? Because in the
Yeah,
pop, it is more rock, or in
yeah.
the piano, is more like classic music, right? So it depends on
Not necessarily, because piano
like
piano
Skuna
bars
bar.
tend to schooner bar. It depends on who is playing, because I've seen schooner bar entertainers who they they play reggae stuff, they play ballads, they play anything that they feel like playing or what the people request. Because usually schooner bar and stuff, you have post-it notes and people usually request songs. And once you know how to play the cards, you just play it for them. So I would say like it gives you a lot of free reign, but it also keeps you on your toes because people might request a song you don't know. And you might be like, oh, okay, I'll try it. It's a very like you tailor the atmosphere because you can be like, well, I don't know it, but I'll try it. So don't you guys laugh at me? Like I've seen piano bar entertainers do that, like make fun of the
And then you
song.
get comments. You can get great comments, and you can they can kill you like at the
Exactly,
end.
exactly.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
are you allowed to get tips?
Um, I don't think bands are allowed to, but I think entertainers like Pub and Schooner, they are allowed
Yeah.
to. Yeah, because I think it's something to do with like fixed salary on. I don't know. I don't know the particulars, but I know those soloists are allowed to get tips, but I don't think bands are allowed to.
I mean, if they give you, they give you, but you cannot just put a
Right.
box in
Right.
front,
Exactly.
yeah, of
Right.
the
Yeah.
stage.
That's the diplomatic answer.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's gonna stop, I guess, from giving you something, but it's not like you can go,
Yeah.
around like you were on the street with,
You're
hey, give
allowed to
me.
put a tip jar there.
Yeah. Okay, then what are the okay, no, let's talk about the cabins. Like in Royal, you were sharing your cabin,
Hmm.
and in Carnival, you have single cabin, which is wow.
Yeah. So for Royal, for most part, the bands, you share a cabin with someone. The cabins are good size though. They're not like, they're workable. See,
I
but
hate
yeah,
I no, I hate those cabins. I don't share. That's why.
so yeah, the cabins. I mean, there are different kind of cabins, as you know. So like, even if you're in a band, depending on your years of experience, you might be able to get like a single room, but it's like a very small shoebox kind of room. The
But I
single
prefer
cabin.
that. I prefer
This
that
the
one.
same
I
is
have that.
there.
Yeah. At
Okay,
least it's my space.
fair, fair. Um, or like if you're a couple, you got a cabin for you and your couple. Then if you're a guest entertainer, you got a cabin with a porthole and a big bed. Yeah, but in Carnival, yes, I got my own room, big bed.
That's
I don't
amazing.
have to I don't have to split the closet in half for another person. You know what that's like.
Remember
Yeah.
Saul was his name? The
Yeah,
Mexican.
Saul.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first roomie. Yeah.
Saul. He was your roomie. You were very good friends. You
Yeah.
were
We still are.
watching movies, remember?
I saw him at
Yeah.
studios because he's with
Oh,
Carnival.
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are the other perks of being part of entertainment for the people that don't know how cruise ship works? Ship
I
life.
would say the rules for entertainment are different than a lot of the different like staff on board. So some staff members they aren't allowed in guest areas. Entertainment you are allowed in most places, most venues. You're allowed to go to the restaurants. You're allowed to go to like the music venues and stuff like that. You just have certain privileges. That's what it is. As an entertainment, you also have certain duties, so you have to do muster.
I was about
Uh,
to ask that. Can you tell them about your side duties? Because we all do other things, not only what we are supposed to do.
yeah. So one side duty most, if not all, entertainment staff do is mustering. So that is when persons come on the cruise for the first day, and we have to scan their emergency card to make sure that they know where the emergency station is, and just give them a little briefing to say, okay, this is where you need to come. This is how we get your life jackets. Da 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 da. So you scan their card after you do all of that to make sure that they were accounted for at their station. So that's what mustering is. What else? What you might have side jobs, and like if you go in the art gallery and you do like a side job, they'll pay you for that.
Since you have
Uh,
a lot of free time, you could have side jobs. Yeah,
you
actually, yes.
can work Wi-Fi.
Internet. Yeah.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. So you work a Wi-Fi shift, and instead of paying you in money, they pay you in free minutes for internet because on ships you have to buy Wi-Fi for the most part. They give you like free WhatsApp texting, but if you want to scroll the media and things like that, you need to buy Wi-Fi. So that's a nice way to trade hours for Wi-Fi.
Um. Okay, one more question. Documents in the recruiting process before you join. What
Mhm.
documents do you need to pay for? In your case, like being from the Caribbean,
So,
visa, all these things.
so for me, I had to get my C1D visa, which all cruise ship members need to get. Um, I also got my B1, B2 visa. So that worked out well, especially seeing that now I have to be on land for rehearsals. So I kind of needed that visa for that. Also, your medicals, that's something that you need to get sorted. Usually, the cruise line sends you the template, and you just go to whatever physician is approved, and then you do your medicals. Your passport has to be up to date. You have to get your vaccine cards and stuff in order. What else?
Security awareness.
If yes, security awareness certificate. Usually you have to do the course and bring the certificate. Whatever cert. Well, if you're not a new hire, but if you're a new hire, just the STCW, the security certificate. If you're not and you're returning, then obviously you need to bring whatever certificates you got from your previous contract, stuff like that.
How much is the medical in your? Do you do it in your country or you have to go somewhere else?
I do it in my country. The last time I did it, I paid close to $1,000 in our money for it.
How much in US?
Probably like 400 and something US.
It's like Mexico. It's I think it's a bit expensive. On for us on like South America, it's more like 200.
Mm. Yeah, it is expensive. I think it's too expensive, to be honest.
Okay, 400. So for you would be like more or less $700 for a new hire,
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. And then you have to carry money with you at the airport because
Yeah.
while the as another perk being in entertainment, they fly you to the ship and fly you back home after your contract finishes. But while that is the case, certain things you have to get reimbursed for. So like if they book you the flight but you go to the airport and they didn't pay for your check bags, then you keep your receipt. Make sure keep your receipt when you pay for your bags. When you get on board, you can get a reimbursement for paying for your two check bags.
Why I have another smart question.
Mm-hmm.
What about the equipment? I don't know. I play the guitar. I play.
So as a guitar, well, as an instrumentalist, you can bring your instruments because all, if not most musicians I've worked with, they all have their own instruments that they bring to the ships. But the companies, they do provide instruments for you. You just have to let them know ahead of time. But if you have your own instrument, you can travel. Just make sure that you keep it safe. Most of the musicians I worked with, they took it on the plane with them as like a carry-on because they didn't trust it to be like put in checked luggage and thrown about and stuff like that.
But so usually, I don't know. When I see these Caribbean mans, I don't know. Let's say Johnny and his band, they bring
Mhm.
their stuff or they use it like onboard equipment.
Yeah, they bring their stuff. Well,
So
Colin
everyone
doesn't
brings.
bring a drum, but he brings his sticks.
Right.
Uh, I think what is his name? Johnny's uncle. He brings his own bass. Um, yeah, Johnny. I think Johnny. If Johnny doesn't take his keys, I think he gets keys from the ship. But I do think he probably owns keys. I'm not sure. But for the most part, they take their instruments because the members in my band they took their bass, they took their guitar, and Leroy had his keyboard. So they all brought their instruments.
This brings me to another thing. To maybe you can tell the people because maybe they are not aware how like so many places that the ship has to play that you guys don't need to set up anything. I mean, you have a whole stage team,
Oh
right?
yeah. So for all of the venues on ships, there are sound techs and stage techs and stage hands assigned to those venues. So they too will have your schedule. So they will know, okay, the Caribbean band is supposed to be playing at 12 on the pool deck. So we need to go and set up at 11. So by the time you get there, oh, and you need to get to every venue 15 minutes before you play to set up your mics and instruments and stuff. So when you get there at like quarter to 12, everything, the monitors, the speakers, the microphone lines, the music, everything is already set up. And your sound tech is there ready to run the lines to make sure everything is good for you to start in 15 minutes. And when it comes to like the production shows, they usually have something called a tech run, which is like a couple hours before the actual show, where they run the entire show just to make sure, all the lines and all the props and everything is working.
In terms of career, like you are a singer and at home you also do your things, does this experience give you like a career boost or like your resume? Is it like so important to have this experience, or in which way does it help you?
I would say the most obvious way it does is improving your skills. Because, okay, look at it like this: you're an athlete, and as opposed to training like once every other day, now you're training 6 out of 7 days a week. You learn yourself better as a musician or as a singer. You also broaden your repertoire because now you're in a place where you have to learn these extra songs. You have to perform these songs probably outside of your comfort zone. So you gain a level of skill and experience that you can't really, you have to learn through being through it, if that makes sense. So being in the experience, it gives you a lot of like first-hand knowledge and experience. It builds your skills. Um, you get to travel a lot, so you get to experience new cultures, new ways of thinking. You get to meet a lot of people, like people from Argentina. But
Right.
yeah, it's just, I don't think it's something to overlook. It's very beneficial, whether it be you go there for the money, whether it be you go there for self-development, to network, to just experience new things, to advance yourself in your career. Maybe you want to move up in the cruise line industry. You want to go from Caribbean band to rock band to guest entertainer or to schooner or whatever, or cruise director, whatever you want to move on to. But like, there are a lot of opportunities to be had and a lot of ways to build yourself. So you can't go wrong.
This was my next question. Structure. Who do
Mhm.
you report to, and who does that person report to, and how is that structure? Because these companies are big, right? So we have a lot of rules, a lot of
A
procedures.
lot of hoes!
So how is it? If you wanna tell the people the structure.
Yeah, so the structure, I'll speak for Royal first. So the members of the band report to the band leader. The band leader reports to the musical director, which is the person who oversees all the musicians. And the musical director, they report to both the cruise director and the activities manager. The activities manager and cruise director are like, partners, but I think the cruise director is like a rank above, or they're the activities
Yeah,
manager's
yeah,
boss.
yeah. It's the division head. Yeah.
Right. So they both now have to report to the hotel director, who is basically in charge of running the entire hotel department. So that includes entertainment, housekeeping, da 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 da. On Carnival, the musical director is also typically a member of the band.
Oh.
So yeah, so the band leader is also your musical director. So the band leader is also responsible for scheduling, which is something that the MD would do in Royal, but the MD is not a part of the band. So so the band members on Carnival report to the musical director slash band leader. Then they report to the entertainment director, and the entertainment
It's the
director
cruise
reports.
director.
The cruise director, no, the cruise director is different than the entertainment director. I think the entertainment director is the cruise director's boss, so they're like right here. Where in the sense of the entertainment director deals with mainly like the admin stuff. So they don't
Okay.
really be on the floor like how the cruise director be like, hey, my name is Dar, I'm the cruise director. They mainly handle like scheduling, back end stuff, admin stuff, stuff between shoreside and the ship. They're like a silent partner basically, if that makes sense.
Could you be a musical director? Like, can you apply?
As in me?
Yeah, like I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
someone
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Usually, there actually Carnival has programs that train musicians to who are interested in like leadership roles. So they have courses tailored to things like that. I actually have a friend who's going through one of that right now. He's a guitarist, and he's like in the leadership program to become a musical director.
Okay, and then about ship life, what would you say? I mean, we talk about like the technical things. We talk
Mm.
about your life on board, the perks, things you do like side duties.
Mhm.
You're very young. I don't know how
Mhm.
old are you now,
I'm
but
26. 26.
but like I think for a lot of people, it's also they're scared of I don't know if I'm gonna like the ship life.
Mm.
What would you tell them, or like in your experience, what do you like and what you don't like?
Okay, first off, I would say don't don't knock it till you try it, basically. Go in with an open mind because I don't know if we were friends at this point, but 3 months into my contract, I was telling some of my friends from the spot I want to go home. Like I don't want to be here. I want to go home because like
Yeah, you were not eating, Kyron. You were losing weight. You were losing weight like crazy.
because it's like
You were not eating.
it was a new experience. One, a lot of rules, things I wasn't used to. You know, there were days you were at sea where you didn't see land. So it was an adjustment, but I was fighting the adjustment. And the minute I embraced it and started
When
to
you
just
met me, you embraced it when you met me.
the
What
minute
a
I
what a coincidence! What a coincidence! Wow.
the minute I started to embrace it and just be like, okay, I enjoy the job. So the job is not the problem. It's just everything else I need to just get accustomed to. It wasn't even that I didn't like it. It's just I wasn't accustomed to it. And it was a drastic change from, you know, driving, being out after work with my friends and here and there and, you know, just basically doing whatever I want to now being in an environment where everything is very controlled and, you know, you have to, you know. And now you got to
I
pay for
know.
Wi-Fi, and sometimes on C days the Wi-Fi is trash. So it was a lot of things to get used to, but they weren't things to like make or break me. It was things like if I embrace them and be like, okay, this is what it is, but like there are ways to work around. So now I found okay, Wi-Fi is shit. I'll go out and port, get good Wi-Fi, and download Netflix episodes. So when I get back on board, I can watch my Netflix. I don't have to buy
He
Wi-Fi.
was, hey guys, he was watching Netflix all day long. Like you called him and he was watching Netflix in the night, in the day. Once we watched which Wakanda, I think we watched. I don't know which movie we watched together. Remember? But then you were not eating because you said the flavor of the Caribbean was not in the food. Blah 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 blah.
No, but okay, yeah, that is another thing. And that is something across all cruise lines. Like you either get a ship with good food or you get a ship with trash food. And when I say trash food, I mean trash food.
I don't
And
agree with you.
sometimes,
Yeah,
huh?
maybe because we eat different things. I don't agree with you.
You don't agree with me?
No, like for you,
Because like they
this
would put
Jamaican
like
food,
they would say
Jamaican food was
Caribbean
always there. Yeah,
food was always there, but that don't mean it tasted good.
he was eating rice, like a thing of rice like this every night with a little,
That's
I don't know.
wow. So sometimes they put like Caribbean da 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 and you taste and you're like, this is not what this tastes like. And all the Caribbean people like unanimously agreed, like this is not what this should taste like. So it's like my thing was if you're not gonna get a Caribbean person to do it, just don't do it. Don't misrepresent the thing. That was my thing. Like it didn't taste and that's another adjustment as well, because I'm used to a certain taste of food and I get on the ship and it's like it's not what I'm accustomed to. So that again was a big adjustment. I had to learn, okay, it won't be the same. So you either eat it or you find something else in this buffet that you do like and that does appeal to your taste buds. So most times after like a couple months I just started to eat salads.
Kyron was like 22 years old, crying in the inside, saying, "My mom is not here to cook me my favorite
You're
meals."
so lie. Oh my
But hold on, now it's better.
yeah. I mean, it was better on Allure. Like Allure had amazing food. My second contract after Anthem, like I went to Allure and like they had Jamaican chefs in the kitchen. They had they had like they had Caribbean night in the mess. And when I tell you the food was slapping, it was slapping cielo.
And just
It
for
was
people
so
to
good.
know, Kyron is the most popular person on the ship. Wherever he goes, he knows everyone. Mainly girls. Remember, you were wearing all these colorful, beautiful suits, and then they were talking to you, everyone. Remember? Is it still like that in Carnival?
I don't know what you're talking about, Ciel.
Oh, you don't know. You got shy. You got shy. Okay. All right, guys. To close this, to end it, ask questions now or
Yeah,
never.
okay.
But I think we talk about everything. Anything else you think so? Like maybe some friends ask you um
Um,
like technical things.
technical things, I would say, again, as a singer, if you're going on cruise ships and you do get the opportunity. Oh, I do have some advice. So, self tapes, that is something, especially if you're working on cruise lines, you would have to do a lot of, because most times if you're auditioning for a band, you'd have to do self tapes. So, self tape is basically you recording yourself performing a song. And for me, it was something very, very difficult because it felt, when are you coming back to Australia? Hey, Raz! He said, when are you coming back
Bro,
to Australia?
we don't know. He doesn't know.
As soon as I can, Raz. As soon as I can. When are you coming back to St. Vincent? Okay. I want
Oh, oh, read it
to
in
know.
Spanish. Come
I
on,
want
bring it
to
on.
know. I want to know how something your something voice or
How you
vocal.
take care of your vocal health, or I don't know. We
Very
you
good
can talk
question.
about you can talk about that.
Yeah, I can. Um, so I would say doing the job that we do as singers, especially where you're doing 3 to 4 sets a night for 6 days a week, if you don't have proper technique or just like a balanced repertoire where you can pace yourself, where you're not constantly like for an hour straight, like, you know what I mean? If you don't have that, um, I would say as much as you can, just rest. Like, don't talk as much. Don't shout when you're not working. Also, if you can get a steamer, I think that. Give me 1 second. I can show you guys my steamer.
Steamer. Okay, I have
Ah,
no clue about these things. So if you have more questions, put them there so we can finalize
so
this live with your
I
questions.
have
Oh,
my
oh,
steamer.
the steamer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
in the morning when I wake up and in the night before I go to bed, I steam. It helps to keep your vocal folds hydrated. Also, I have a nebulizer, vocal nebulizer from Vocal Mist that helps to keep your vocal cords
You bring that
hydrated.
on board.
Yeah, it's like a very. I'll show you a casserole.
So this girl that asked Fiore says, I'm embarking in 2 weeks, and she has the nebulizador. She has it.
Ah, yeah, so it's like this. It's very portable. Um, this is it right here. I need just like
That's what
yeah.
when you have asthma.
No, but like it's a special solution made by this company called Vocal Mist for singers. So it's saline, but I don't know if they add anything extra if it's just saline, but it helps to hydrate your vocal cords. Um, so I steam, I nebulize, try to rest as much as possible because you're what a lot of people don't realize about singers, our instrument is our body. So if your body is not taken care of, your voice will feel it. Whether you yourself, your voice is good or not, if your body is not good, it will affect your voice eventually. Hydrate, like water is your best friend. Depending on
How a question? How do you balance? I know you were not like a crazy party person. You're not. I think so. But how do you balance that life? Oh, from your
uh,
friends, maybe. Like,
also choose your battles wisely in terms of, okay, if you know tomorrow morning you have a drill. Okay, let me speak for me in the Caribbean band. So there were nights we would have a crew party. The crew party would finish at 2 a.m. But let's say the next day you have drill, and then after the drill, I start on the pool deck at like 1. So I don't really have much time to sleep. I'll be like, okay, I can't miss the drill. I can't miss work. So either I go to the party and leave early or I don't go to the party. And there will be other parties. So it's like picking and choosing your battles, basically, knowing when to hold yourself accountable and being like, okay, as much as I'm here to enjoy myself, I'm here to work, and this will impact my work if I don't get enough rest. So let me like for this night, let me just not go to the party, or let me just leave early, or let me go but not overexert myself so that I'm not extra tired. And there are times I go to parties I don't drink. Like even now, I don't even drink. I just drink water. So like because alcohol it dries out your voice. So that's another thing. Like I don't drink alcohol before. I just drink water.
What happens? This brings me to a situation. What happens if you get sick, or like in the Caribbean band, it's one singer, you get sick, or there's anyone, whatever happens to someone. What happens?
So if you get sick to the point where you're medically
You
off for
cannot.
the day,
Yeah.
yeah, what would happen if you have an understanding manager? They might cancel the set if you're the only singer. Um, if you have an understanding manager, they might decrease the number of sets and still let the band perform. Because I was medical off a few times with Leroy, the Caribbean band, and the other guys would sing songs as well. So what they did, they just decreased the amount of sets sometimes. Sometimes they still made them do 4 sets without a singer, which doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I would say it's all discretionary. With Carnival, you have a female singer, so sometimes a female singer will just take those sets, or they might decrease the amount of sets. But for the most part, if you're not working, then someone else has to.
In my last contract, I've seen like when the Caribbean band couldn't play because one was off, the party band was
If
replacing them.
yeah,
That
that's
way.
another thing too, because there are
Yeah.
situations where um, the party band singer was medical off, and the because no one else in the band sung, the MD asked our band if we could fill in the venue for them that night. So we would have like sets on the pool deck and then go and fill in for them in the night. So there are situations like that where you do fill in for other musicians when their members are medically off.
Are you gonna do this for a long time?
No.
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 So, yeah. What are your next steps?
I would like to go into casting eventually. So, okay, my next step, I want to do production shows before I go into casting, but I do want to go into casting. I always like the idea of like listening and finding talent and be like, oh, okay, I could see
Casting, you mean that? Okay, I didn't know what
yeah,
you meant.
sorry. So yeah, casting as it relates to like selecting persons for being in the shows and stuff like that, or just like being musicians or being in bands, like being okay, this would be a nice fit. I can see you in this role. I always like things like that, so that would be something that I would want to do.
And so to end this, do you wanna advertise yourself? Tell people what you do. You said it in the beginning, but just say it again. Where to find you? On Spotify, your Instagram. What do you sing? Everything.
All right, everyone. So I am Kyron Westfield from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Um, I do my own music under the stage name Kyron West. So you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, basically any streaming platform. I'm on Instagram at Kyron West. Um, yeah, I do my own music. I write my own music. Just check it out. Yeah, that's me. I'm
How?
from the
When?
Caribbean.
When is your next song coming? How does it work?
You mean the
Okay,
the
hold on. I want to say that I love his last song. It's called Outside, and I've been listening to it in loop.
Hello, Becca. Becca is
Watching
someone
because
I met on, I think it was my contract on Quantum, if I'm not mistaken. It
the
was her and
contract
her
that
friend.
you
Abby.
missed you. I
Her-
missed you for 1 month, I think. Remember?
Yeah,
She's saying when any new music coming out. Same question.
music is coming out, Becca. And why you are evading work, avoiding work, my bad. But yeah, music is coming. It's just a matter of knowing what I want to put out because music is written. Um, it's just a matter of going to the studio, recording, fleshing it out, and being like, okay, this
Where do
is
you get inspiration from?
life. So for all my previous projects, they're all written from experience, whether mine or a friend told me a story, and I'm like, ah, okay. And then it just like while I'm listening to the beat, it popped back in my mind. I'm like, huh, and I just wrote about it. But everything I wrote about, it's either my personal experience or someone else's I've heard personal experience.
That's deep. I love it. Oh, all right. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm gonna save this so you can share the link with your friends, your musicians friends, whatever. Thank you, Kyron. I miss you so
Thank
much.
you.
Hopefully we can see each other again
Come to St. Vincent.
somewhere. Oh, for Carnival. When is Carnival? You know how I am. You
The
know how I am.
Yo, for all my Caribbean people here.
For all my
Cielo
Caribbean
say.
people here, Cielo. Hello.
Cielo say, but Kyron, that's sex. They're having sex.
When they dance. Oh, I'm
Yeah, she's talking about how we whine at Carnival. She's like, that's sex. I'm like, no, Cielo, that's the culture.
don't say the word. It's a bad word in YouTube.
Oh,
When is Carnival?
the last week of June till like the first week in July.
Okay, next year. If you're there, I'm coming. I promise.
I have video proof now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Yes.